Ever wondered why certain activities bring you immense joy and satisfaction? The secret lies in a chemical messenger in our brain, known as dopamine. This feel-good neurotransmitter is released when we engage in certain behaviors, sparking a sensation of pleasure. Imagine biting into your favorite dessert or finishing a challenging workout. It's dopamine that's giving you that rewarding feeling. This is part of what we call a biological reward system, a system that has evolved over time to help us survive. It motivates us to repeat behaviors that are associated with pleasure and, in turn, beneficial to our survival. But dopamine isn't just about survival and rewards. It plays a more complex role, particularly when it comes to addiction. Now, you might be wondering, how does this happen? Well, that's a fascinating story all on its own. Dopamine rewards are not just limited to healthy survival behaviors. It can also reward certain unhealthy behaviors. Let's delve into that. Activities that may be harmful to our health can trigger a massive release of dopamine. These include drug use, excessive alcohol consumption, and even seemingly harmless habits like overusing social media. Once this surge of dopamine is released, it can result in a sensation of pleasure quite unlike any other. This sensation can be so powerful that it motivates us to repeat the behavior, even if we're aware of its negative consequences. The pleasure derived from these activities can be so intense that it can create a cycle of repetition, leading to the formation of addictive behaviors. Interestingly, this dopamine-driven cycle of repetition doesn't discriminate between healthy and unhealthy behaviors. So dopamine can be a double-edged sword, rewarding both healthy and unhealthy behaviors. But what happens when there is an overuse of unhealthy behaviors? Overuse of unhealthy behaviors that trigger large dopamine releases can lead to changes in the brain. Now, what does this mean? Let's break it down. When we repeatedly engage in activities that trigger a flood of dopamine, it's like a party in the brain, but just as the loudest party can leave your house a mess, excessive dopamine can overstimulate the brain, potentially causing damage to our neurons. Think of it like this. Imagine your brain is a quiet village and dopamine is a parade. A small parade now and then brings joy and excitement. But if there's a massive parade every day, the village can't cope. The roads wear down, the villagers can't get their daily tasks done, and soon the village isn't functioning as it should. In the same way, when we constantly expose our brains to high levels of dopamine, our neurons can become worn out or less sensitive to dopamine. This is known as tolerance, and it's a bit like needing more and more coffee to wake up in the morning. As a result, we might find ourselves engaging in more harmful behaviors just to feel the same level of pleasure. But here's the kicker. While excessive dopamine can lead to tolerance, it can also lead to a state of dopamine deficiency. Yes, you heard that right. Too much of this feel-good neurotransmitter can leave us feeling not so good after all. Before we continue, if you're liking the video, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Thank you. Now back to the video. Ironically, the very activities that cause a surge in dopamine can also lead to a state of dopamine deficiency. This might seem counterintuitive, but let's break it down. When you engage in activities that trigger large dopamine releases, your dopamine levels can skyrocket, but what goes up must come down. After stopping these activities, dopamine levels can drop below baseline levels. It's like the brain's way of balancing out the high. This altered equilibrium is often referred to as a come down, and it's not exactly a walk in the park. Symptoms of dopamine deficiency can manifest in various ways. You might feel a lack of motivation or experience feelings of nervousness, irritability, and even hopelessness. Cognitive changes may occur, with difficulties in concentrating being a common issue. You might find little to no pleasure in things you once enjoyed, and trouble sleeping could become a nightly ordeal. So while dopamine can bring pleasure, it is important to remember that too much of a good thing can be harmful. It's all about balance. In response to dopamine deficiency and the effects it can have on your life, there is a method of resetting your brain's neurochemical system known as the 21-day dopamine detox. This process involves abstaining from certain activities that provide instant gratification and trigger an immediate dopamine surge. The purpose? To recalibrate your brain's reward system. But how do you effectively execute a dopamine detox? You can start by making it more difficult to engage in activities that provide mindless rewards. This could mean physically putting something out of reach or sight, or using technology to your advantage by installing apps or software that block the detrimental activities. Next, choose alternative activities that can bring you joy and satisfaction, but in a healthier manner. This could include exercise, drawing, writing, reading, or meditating. Spending quality time with loved ones can also be a valuable part of your dopamine detox. Moreover, it's crucial to identify and address the root cause of the unhealthy behaviors. Spending time alone, meditating, or journaling can help you understand your feelings and why you're drawn to certain activities. Lastly, if you're struggling with mental health or substance use issues, don't hesitate to seek professional medical advice. Dopamine detox is considered a form of cognitive behavioral therapy, and undertaking it under the guidance of a trained professional can ensure you navigate the process safely and effectively. In summary, dopamine detox is about balance, not deprivation. It's about relearning to appreciate the simple pleasures in life and breaking the cycle of dopamine-driven behaviors. Thank you for watching until the end. See you in the next video.